Hey, what is up guys, Orhan here, and this is Apple's latest flagship, the iPhone 7, and this is basically everything that you need to know that's new and different about the iPhone 7 compared to last year's generation, the iPhone 6s. Now number one, the biggest and most controversial change to the iPhone 7 is the removal of the headphone jack. Now if you haven't noticed yet, if you look on the bottom of the iPhone 7 there is no headphone jack, and what Apple is basically trying to do is they're trying to push for wireless technology. Now, personally, for me, this isn't really that big of a deal. I use wireless headphones anyways, but I know that's not the same with a lot of people out there. And the removal of the headphone jack is such a significant change that it might even be a deal breaker to that group of people that use their wired headphones with their iPhones. So that should definitely be something that you're keeping in mind when you're going for the iPhone 7. Another change with the iPhone 7 is the new design, and when I say new design, I say that very lightly because if you haven't noticed yet, the iPhone 7 looks strikingly similar to last year's iPhone 6s. On the back of the phone, they did remove the antenna lines, and in my opinion, this just gives the back of the phone a cleaner look, and it's definitely a welcome change. Now, another new thing with the design of the iPhone 7 is IP67 water resistant certification. Now, what that means is that you can take your iPhone in 1.5 meters of water for up to 30 minutes. Now, obviously, not a lot of people are going to go that deep, but it can handle a misting just fine. Apple also added two new colors to the iPhone 7 lineup. So, this generation we have a new jet black color and a black color that has replaced the space gray from previous generations. Now, another upgrade with the iPhone 7 is the display. Now, the resolution is exactly the same as last year, but according to Apple, it has a larger color gamut and is 30% brighter, so the outdoor viewing experience should be better than last generation's iPhone 6s. And Apple also advertises that the actual display, the glass itself, is ion strengthened glass, so it should be more durable than last generation's iPhone 6s as well. We also have the same 3D touch capabilities from last generation as well. Now, another change with the iPhone 7 is the new speaker system. We still have that single bottom firing speaker from last year, but now the earpiece is actually a speaker, so technically the iPhone 7 has stereo speakers, but it's not really the stereo speakers that we're used to in other phones. But nevertheless, the speakers do sound better than the iPhone 6s. And that's a welcomed upgrade in my book. The home button on the iPhone 7 has also been changed. It doesn't really click anymore. It's a solid piece of glass. And Apple has put a new taptic engine inside the iPhone 7 that gives you haptic feedback when you click the home button. Now, it's a completely different feeling compared to last year's home button, which actually clicked. But after I used the iPhone 7 for several hours and I went back to the iPhone 6s, the home button of the iPhone 7 definitely felt more futuristic. Now, one of the biggest changes of the iPhone 7 is the performance. Replacing Apple's A9 chip in the iPhone 7 is the A10 Fusion chip. And what makes this Fusion chip special is that it's a quad-core processor, and two of the cores have smaller sizes for better low performance. So what that means is that when you switch your iPhone 7 to low power mode, your remaining battery life will be significantly longer compared to last generation's iPhone 6s, because the two cores handling all the power and processing that's going on while you turned your iPhone to power saving mode. Since they're smaller, they require less power, which makes them more efficient for low power usage. The iPhone 7 also has 2 gigs of RAM with a 1960 mAh battery. Now, in my opinion, 2 gigs of RAM is still enough for iOS. As we know already, iOS is a very light operating system, and it handles 2 gigs of RAM just fine. And the 1960 mAh battery definitely got me my full day of usage, along with my 4.5 hours of screen on time. And one of my favorite changes with the iPhone 7 is that Apple finally killed the 16 gig model. Now, the iPhone 7 lineup starts from 32 gigs and it goes up to 128 and 256 gigabyte variants. The final change with the iPhone 7 is the camera. As you can see, Apple put a larger sensor in there, hence why there is a larger camera hump this year. And this is a good thing because it will help with low light performance. It's the same 12 megapixel sensor from last year with OIS, but a nice little touch is that they added a quad LED dual tone flash this year. Now, even though I don't use the flash while I take pictures, it is a nice thing to have. And it also has that 4K video that we're familiar with from last year. But a major change in the camera is that it has phase detection autofocus. Now what this does is that it gives the iPhone's camera a super quick autofocusing system, similar to what we see on the Note 7 and S7 from Samsung. And for those selfie savvy people, we have a new 7 megapixel front facing camera, which should take care of all your selfie needs. Now overall, I really do like the iPhone 7. It's an amazing phone with super fast performance, a good camera, good battery life, and it basically checks all the boxes for being the most ideal smartphone. But the only problem is that it's not a significant upgrade from last year. So if you have an iPhone 6s and you're planning on going for the iPhone 7, my recommendation for you would probably be to hang on to your iPhone 6s and wait for the new iPhone. If you're a loyal Apple fanboy, by all means, go for the iPhone 7, but that's just my recommendation. And yeah, that's basically it. Just a quick overview of how this phone performed during the time that I used it. Again, my name is Orhan. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.